Joshua Allen, the high-energy dancer who rose to national prominence after winning Season 4 of So You Think You Can Dance, has died. He was 36. Multiple reports indicate Allen was struck by a train in Fort Worth, Texas, on September 30, 2025, and was taken to a nearby hospital where he later died. His family confirmed his passing to media outlets and asked for privacy as they grieve. Local authorities say the incident is under investigation, and officials have not yet released a full incident or medical examiner's report. For many fans of contemporary dance and reality television, Joshua Allen's name is linked to a particular kind of raw, magnetic performance, an electric stage presence, an instinctive command of hip-hop and street styles, and a playful charisma that made him a favorite among judges and audiences alike. His ascent from local performer in Fort Worth to national champion in 2008 was sudden and, for a time, reshaped his life and career. Tonight, the dance community and viewers who grew up watching those seasons are again processing the loss of a performer who, for a generation, symbolized youthful energy and showmanship. Joshua Allen was born in Fort Worth in 1989. He grew up outside of the traditional academy pipelines that shape many professional dancers. Instead, his training and style developed in local studios and through street and club influences. That lived, self-taught quality, part bravado, part raw talent, became his signature. When he auditioned for So You Think You Can Dance, his personality read as much as his footwork. He delivered routines with an irrepressible grin, a forward-leaning intensity, and a sense of risk that translated into unforgettable television moments. By the end of the competition in 2008, he had captured the season's top prize and the informal title of America's Favorite Dancer. The 2008 season that produced Allen's victory is also remembered for one of the show's most beloved figures, Stephen "Twitch" Boss, who finished as the season's runner-up and later became a prominent entertainer and television personality before his death in 2022. The history of that season, two performers with distinct energy, both loved by audiences, has taken on a heavier resonance in recent years as the community has had to mourn multiple losses from that cohort. After his SYTYCD win, Allen translated his visibility into film and television opportunities. He appeared in dance-centered films such as Step Up 3D and had a role in the 2011 remake of Footloose. He made television appearances and, in later years, returned to So You Think You Can Dance as an all-star, sharing the stage with younger dancers who had grown up watching clips of his performances. Those appearances reinforced the sense that, even as the show churned out new talent, Allen's energetic style remained a touchstone for many viewers and aspiring performers. Yet, like many public figures who rise quickly, Allen's life contained both bright professional moments and difficult personal chapters. Public reporting has documented legal problems he faced in 2016 and subsequent legal consequences that followed. Those incidents were widely covered at the time and remain part of his public record. When considering a life in its full complexity, it's important to acknowledge both the accomplishments that inspired fans and the struggles that shaped the person behind the public image. For many who knew him personally, colleagues and friends say Allen was more than tabloid headlines. He was a mentor, a collaborator, and someone who brought joy to rehearsals and performances alike. News of Allen's death prompted immediate reactions across social media and within the dance community. Fellow dancers, choreographers, and fans took to public platforms to share clips of his most memorable routines, to post photos of him smiling backstage, and to offer condolences to his family. Choreographers and peers described him in heartfelt terms, notes that emphasized his warmth, the electricity of his performances, and the humor he could bring to a room. In the hours after the report circulated, many also expressed a quiet, stunned disbelief. A performer who had once seemed larger than life suddenly gone at a relatively young age. Officials in Fort Worth confirmed that emergency services responded to a report of a person struck by a train. Beyond that basic outline, details have been limited. In incidents involving trains, investigations commonly involve multiple agencies and can take time. Police reports, witness statements, and any available camera footage are gathered, and the medical examiner's findings, particularly in cases where an autopsy or toxicology testing is needed, may not be available for days or weeks. Until those formal reports are released, media outlets and the public must rely on official statements from law enforcement and the family's public comments. For his loved ones, the request for privacy has been consistent, and many have urged for restraint in public speculation about circumstances that remain unconfirmed. The response to Alan's death also reopened conversation about the toll life in the public eye can take on performers. Reality television can deliver sudden fame and financial opportunity, but it also places people under an intense public microscope during formative years. Many who rose to early fame on such platforms describe a complex adjustment period afterward, navigating opportunities, managing personal relationships, and confronting the stresses of legal and mental health struggles with a spotlight that rarely dims. Colleagues who spoke in the wake of Alan's death emphasized the human side of his story: the late-night rehearsals, the mentorship of younger dancers, the laughter he brought into studios, rather than reducing his life to a string of headline moments. At the same time, fans and friends have filled social feeds with reminders of what made Alan's work memorable. Clips of his routines, highly choreographed and raw freestyle alike, are recirculating, and comments often focus as much on the physical artistry and timing as on the larger-than-life personality he projected on stage. For many, revisiting those performances is less about nostalgia and more about witnessing the craft that made him a standard-bearer for a style of performance that blends technical skill with theatrical swagger. Tributes have come from across the spectrum of those he influenced: former competitors, choreographers, teachers, and everyday fans. Some posts recount small, personal memories, a shared rehearsal, a quick word of encouragement before a performance, an on-set joke. Details that underline the ordinary, everyday human connections that form the scaffolding of a public life. Others emphasize his contributions to dance culture, highlighting how his moments on SYTYCD inspired a new wave of young performers who saw in his moves a possibility for their own careers. Like many stories of sudden loss, Alan's death raises broader questions for the dance community and for fans about how to offer support. In recent years, there has been a growing awareness within artistic communities of the importance of mental health resources, peer networks, and institutional support for performers as they navigate the pressures of touring, auditions, and public scrutiny. For those who knew Alan personally, the current conversation is likely to include both grief and a renewed interest in supporting the well-being of dancers at every level. As authorities continue their work, journalists and the public are watching for official updates. A full picture of what happened will rest on police findings and any subsequent statements from the medical examiner. In the meantime, the outpouring of remembrance underscores a simple truth about public figures. Even as careers and headlines frame a life, it is the quiet, less visible interactions, the mentorship, the rehearsals, the friendships, that often leave the most enduring impression on those who knew the person best. Legacy is complicated and frequently reassessed after a life ends. For Joshua Allen, part of that legacy is clear. He helped popularize a particular brand of hip-hop influence performance on a national platform, and his routines inspired countless dancers who watched him as teenagers or young adults. His work in film and television extended that reach, bringing his style into mediums beyond reality TV. For fans, the memory that remains is often his smile in the middle of a turn, the way a crowd cheered when he hit a difficult sequence, and the moments when his personality filled the screen. Even as the dance world mourns, there are practical considerations that often follow in the days after a public figure's death. Friends and family may seek privacy as they make funeral arrangements and handle estate matters. Fellow artists and institutions sometimes set up memorials, scholarships, or benefit performances to honor a life and to support dependents or causes important to the deceased. Fans who wish to express their condolences are often encouraged to do so respectfully and with awareness of the family's stated wishes for privacy during an intensely personal time. In the end, Joshua Allen's story is one of contrasts: the exhilaration of national fame and the struggles that can shadow a life spent in the public eye, the spark of youthful performance, and the weight of adult consequences. His sudden death at 36 is a reminder, tragic and immediate, of the unpredictable fragility of life, even for those who seem larger than it on stage. For the many dancers he inspired, and for the audiences who watched him over the years, his work will continue to circulate in clips, shared memories, and the young performers who emulate the moves that once electrified television screens. As investigators work to clarify the circumstances of the accident, and as his family mourns privately, the broader community is left to reckon with loss and remembrance. In the coming days, there will likely be more official information and additional statements from those close to him. For now, those who admired Joshua Allen's work are honoring his memory in the simplest ways available, by revisiting his performances, by sharing their favorite moments, and by offering condolences to the family and friends who knew him outside the spotlight. Joshua Allen brought to the stage an unmistakable energy, flamboyant when the moment required it, technically sharp when the choreography demanded precision, and always deeply engaged with the audience watching him. Tonight, those qualities are part of the legacy people will carry forward, not only the headlines that announced his death, but the rehearsal rooms, late-night talks, and the joy he put into performance. As the community grieves, those memories remain, quiet but persistent, a record of what he gave to dance and to those who followed his career. For now, the request from his family for privacy stands. Out of respect for them and for the need for accurate reporting, speculation about the specifics of the incident should be avoided until officials release their findings. When more information becomes available, it will help piece together the final hours of a life that for many began on television screens and in theater lights as a vivid display of talent and possibility. Until then, the focus for many is simple and human, remembering the person who danced, who laughed backstage, and who left an indelible mark on a community that celebrates motion as much as it mourns its loss.